Welcome to another edition of Take a Stand TV with your host, Christian apologist, author, and speaker, Eric Barger. You can subscribe to our updates and find Eric online at ericbarger.com. Now, here's Eric Barger.
Good evening, everybody. I'm glad you're here tonight. I decided to live stream just on the spur of the moment. Some things on my mind today is probably on your mind as well. If you've been watching TV or you've been looking at social media, then you know there's some events going on out there that are probably of great concern to us. I know they certainly are to me. When you think about the way social media is being used today, it's affecting a lot of people, kind of like the boy who cried wolf. If you remember the famous, probably the most famous of Aesop's fables. The fear merchants and the conspiracy purveyors, as I've written here, are making a fortune at the expense of reason and common sense. It doesn't matter if something's true, doesn't matter if something's right. None of that stuff really matters when you consider what is happening around us today. It doesn't really matter if the facts are in play or not. You know, the end times are perilous enough and certainly full of all kinds of twists and turns. Sometimes we see things coming, sometimes we don't. And we have to learn to adapt in these days just before the Lord returns. But to you who are Christians, I think we need great discernment in the day that we live in today. We need to be discerning about what we listen to, about who we believe. We need to be discerning about how we spend our time. Sometimes you think about the amount of time that's spent on social media on things that really don't have any eternal significance at all. And I'm not against social media, don't get me wrong. I use it. I'm on Facebook. You're probably watching me on Facebook right now. But I believe we need to be discerning about what we buy into. There will be a lot of really good sounding arguments. That is, they will sound like they're correct, that may not hold any water. And we need to be careful about what we listen to and who we listen to and where we get our news from. Now, I made that same point in my DVD, Preparing for Perilous Times. And also I made that point in Thursday's live stream when I talked about Antifa and about the idea that there was going to be some sort of a power shutdown of our power grid here in America this weekend. A lot of people have a lot of ideas. And a lot of people, I think, are seeing ghosts behind doors. And I believe the conspiracies exist out there. That's not the issue. I believe that there are things that are unseemly that are happening. I believe, obviously, that we should be concerned about those who want to spend billions of dollars, such as George Soros, to bring down our nation. But let's be careful we don't buy into the hype and the hyperbole that's going on. The result of buying into all of these different ideas that are out there is, first of all, we run after things all day long without really thinking through the amount of time that we have put into it, as I've already said. But the result is that in the days in the future, there are going to be events and going to be issues that are very worthy of our attention. And if we are so burnt out today, listening to the different conspiracy theories and the ideas such as was presented back on September 23rd or about the September 23rd scenario, we'll become very conditioned and very desensitized, and we may disregard the valid warnings that are down the road in the future. That's why I titled this commentary this evening, The Little Boy That Cried Wolf. And I think that we're in jeopardy of that happening, and that's just part of my titling today. Fear for profit is one thing I want to talk about, because there's an awful lot of fear being peddled for profit, that's for sure. It's the ultimate in fake news when somebody can literally make money from their views on YouTube, the amount of times that a video is hit on YouTube. They can make money on it even though there may not be any validity in it at all. And as I was going through some of the titles and some of the things being talked about today that that are getting a lot of play around the world. I just thought, my gracious, I wonder how many Christians are buying into this stuff and how many people will really be like the little boy crying wolf. We talk about something over and over and over. We hear these things are going to happen. We're positive there's going to be a shutdown of the power grid. We're positive that Antifa is going to go out and behead people in the public square, as it has been said, even on a couple of conservative sites. And after a while, we won't know what to believe. We'll decide just to turn it all off at a time maybe when we should be listening to what is going on and taking note of things that are happening out there. So there's going to be an awful lot of confusion, as I pointed out in Thursday's live stream here in these end days. Going to be a lot of confusion. And so as I made this comment in last Thursday's live stream, make sure that you're very, very picky about who you receive information from. And if you didn't see the live stream from last Thursday, I'm going to play it here in a second. I'll have to back up a couple of the slides here to do so. But I think it's worthy that we go back and replay that. Some of you have seen it, I realize that. And I will load this particular commentary up to YouTube, so it'll sit there by itself. But you can, of course, go to YouTube or to our website, ericbarger.com, and watch all the past programming of Take a Stand TV. But last Thursday and Friday morning, actually, Thursday night, Friday morning, the live streaming I did for our normal TV show was about Antifa and about Refuse Fascism, which are two groups who are calling for civil disobedience, and about the Department of Defense communication drill, the whole idea that the power grid would fail, or something more cataclysmic possibly. You know, there's a test this weekend to make sure our power grid, that we can have communication should the power grid go down, and that communication would be with ham radio and so on, in case of a power grid failure or, God forbid, an EMP attack. So there's my commentary as far as what I had written down. But when I wrote down the actual title that I have to put up on live stream to be able to go ahead and get an event started, and this was what you call an event on live stream whenever there's somebody live streaming. I said fake news from any political vantage point is a topic of great concern today. We all know that already. Everyone has bias, but social media is a breeding ground and a megaphone for just about any twisted tale, regardless of the facts. Discernment in spiritual matters is a must, and the same is true when it comes to discerning what is true and what is false on Facebook and on Twitter. So I hope that you're being discerning. I hope you're not buying into everything you see, even if it's someone who sounds very convincing and can rattle off even scientific proofs or facts and so on. Let's be careful we don't buy into things. Let's always take it back to the Bible and see if it sounds like it really washes. That is the key. And I hope that you're careful to do that already. And I just want to encourage you again to do so. And I'm going to back up in my slides here. And now we can, at this point, start last Thursday's live streaming. And I will be quiet. I'll let you go. And one more thing. Make sure you take your stand wherever you can and whenever you can, today and each day for the Lord Jesus Christ. I'll see you next Tuesday morning with our usual program live stream. God bless you.